How are you anyway, James?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Yeah, pretty good.
Did you have a good gig on Friday?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was all right. It was a little bit quiet with it being St. Paddy's Day, but
Yeah.
it was all right. Yeah, the other bands were pretty good.
Yeah, we weren't playing. We were just playing around. Well, not that far from you.
Yeah, you were over at Rebellion, weren't you?
Yeah.
How
But
did it
we
go?
also, yeah, it was awesome. We also had that Thunder gig to compete with. That was at the
Oh, yeah,
Apollo,
yeah.
and that was sold out.
Yeah, our drummer played with us at Ruby Lounge, and then he went over to the Apollo to see Thunder, and then came back after.
It was cool actually. Some people came 2 hours after Thunder had finished straight to see us. We literally walked in just as we started.
Oh, that's pretty good. You had a decent turnout then.
Yeah, it did suck a lot of people away to that gig. To be fair, because obviously that gig got announced like a year ago.
Yeah,
and it was sold out, so I can't really argue with that. So you were playing with? Were you the only original band on that lineup?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, it was just us, Shamtera, Megadeth UK, and Metal Militia.
Cool. What do you feel about the whole tribute versus original bands thing?
It's a good question. I mean, I've got no problem with people being in tribute bands. I mean, I thought they did a really good job, especially Metal Militia. I thought they were really good.
All right.
But you can't beat the original, though, can you? The experience of seeing the original band.
Well, obviously venues have got to do what they've got to do, haven't they? Putting tributes on if it's what gets people through the door, I guess.
Oh, of course, yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, everybody's got to make money.
Yeah. Were you opening that night then?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were first on.
Cool.
We got the offer to do a 40-minute set if we went on 10 minutes early, but when we were ready, it wasn't really filling up quite as much as we'd hoped. So we just went on at 7:30 as planned and just did half an hour.
All right, cool. So, did you stay and watch all the other bands then?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we stayed till the end. Well, they were using our cabs anyway, so we couldn't bug
right,
off.
right, yeah.
Not that we would have done.
I think I've seen the Megadeth one before. They were really good. I think I saw them in Newcastle.
Yeah, they were fantastic actually. Yeah, I can't remember the singer's name. I think he was called John. But his Megadeth impression was brilliant. He got it absolutely spot on.
So were they playing any of the new Megadeth stuff?
Don't think they did actually. No. I think it was all like the classic Megadeth stuff.
Yeah, because I quite like the Dystopia album.
Yeah.
I
haven't had much time to listen to it, to be honest. But I have heard good things about it, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We were just messing around before me and Tech, our producer here, we were just messing around when we were waiting for you to call in. We were looking at because I hadn't seen it. Because Megadeth just recently won a Grammy, didn't they, for best metal performance?
Oh yeah, they did.
And when they went up, the house band was playing Master of Puppets.
Oh yeah, I saw that
really badly, and it's absolutely awful. It's just like.
You could sort of see a look on his face, like he was trying to,
he was trying to make a joke of it, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He was smiling, he was laughing, he was like, yeah, it's very, very funny. But I think inside he was a little bit upset.
I just think, were they doing that on purpose? Do you think? Is that just?
They must have done. I mean, that's way too much of a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah, not only like to play it Metallica, but to play it really badly. He tried to laugh it off, but he must inside him. He's been thinking, for fuck's sake, I cannot escape this band.
He can never ever escape Metallica. I mean, I was just saying to Amy the other day, as well as Megadeth have done, they've had such a huge impact on the music world, and they've been so successful, and they've had so many good albums. And I thought when he left Metallica, I thought he was probably thinking, I want to start up a band, and my aim is to be bigger and better than Metallica. And as well as they've done, Metallica have always been bigger.
That bit ahead of them, haven't they? Yeah. I mean, yeah, like he said before, some people consider his success like total, like he considers it a failure, but other people consider it a success, selling like 20-30 million albums, especially today. Anyway.
Yeah, they've been massive.
Yeah, certainly underrated, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
And I don't like. There's a lot of people like, the old school, like you can like one but you can't like the other.
Oh yeah.
There's always people like that. Why can't you just like both? What's wrong with both?
I like both.
The best
I've got no problem with that.
Yeah, the best thing to come out of him getting kicked out of that band was the fact that we have Megadeth now.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we were looking at.
He's a fantastic guitarist as well, as he must say.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's a pioneer.
Yeah, definitely.
That we were looking you up on Amethyst on Facebook just before.
Oh, okay.
If anyone listening, James is the frontman and guitar player of Amethyst, which are an awesome metal band. How did you describe yourselves?
I I'd say we usually describe ourselves as thrash, like,
Yeah.
but we have like elements of groove as well. But if anybody asks, I just say, yeah, we're a thrash band.
Yeah, I would say that.
I don't like to delve too much into the all the different subgenres and
too
all
many.
that crap.
There's just too many of them.
There's loads, and I think a lot of it's unnecessary as well. Like, I mean, why define it so specifically?
Yeah, like post-progressive vegetable core.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is there any need for that?
It's just like, where did all these come from? Like, it seemed like it was just a few years ago, maybe it's like in the last 10 years, where they've all sort of like suddenly cropped up hundreds of different subgenres that don't even make sense.
Yeah. I have no idea where most of them come from, to be honest. But
no. Or what they mean.
We're just saying, we're a heavy metal band.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we are.
Yeah. Not trying to be pigeonholed. But,
no.
So
how do you normally describe yourselves?
I'd say thrash as well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I normally say. Or sometimes I just say heavy metal.
Yeah.
Just
thrash is detailed enough. That's about as detailed as we go.
It depends who you speak to.
Yeah, exactly.
If you speak to a metalhead, then they get it. If you speak to a normal person, you just say heavy metal, and they might get it, they might not.
Yeah, that's it.
If you say thrash, they're like, what?
Yeah, or if it sometimes. So it depends who it is. If you say thrash to some people, they just think of like the most extreme version of heavy metal there is known to man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that.
Or if you mention it to a person that's not really into heavy metal, you say, "Oh, we're in a heavy metal band." Oh, like the Foo Fighters. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
If it's someone like that, I just go, yeah, just like them. Yeah, that's us.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, it's like the place where I go and get my hair cut, because they ask me what I'm up to, and I tell them that I'm in a band and we're playing in this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, we're a death metal band. And like, oh, so a bit like Zeppelin then.
Yep, that's us. All ballads.
Yeah.
You're spot on there, mate. Yeah.
Nailed it. Or I should say, well, just why don't you go and have a look and check us out? Make your own mind up.
I should.
But
a lot of people, when they do listen to us, people that aren't really into heavy metal, when they hear us, they're like, I really like the music, not too keen on the vocals.
Well, it's one of those things where the vocals can be the deciding factor, because some people like screaming and some people don't, do they? Or growling or shouting, or however you want to.
That's what puts a lot of people off, I think. I've got quite a few friends who say to me, like, oh, we love the music, but the vocals, not really for us. It's a bit, we prefer to hear melodic vocals, more like you guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm the same. I am that way, but I still I can tell when someone's good at doing that sort of stuff, and like, if that's what you want to do, that's what you should do. You shouldn't change just because people say that sort of stuff to you. There's plenty of people, I'm sure, who tell you like your vocals. So.
Oh, there are, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just doing what you feel comfortable. Like, if I tried to sing like that, I'd probably blow my voice out. We're all built differently, aren't we?
So I've thought about from time to time maybe adding some melodic vocals in, and in one of the new songs I've actually put some melodic sections in there. But I was always worried about doing too much melodic stuff, because when I'm doing the heavy screaming stuff, I don't want to sort of wear my voice out and then I can't perform the melodic stuff.
Yeah, because it's like different muscle workouts, isn't it? Singing to shouting or screaming, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to get into a position where he's like, yeah, I can do the melodic stuff as long as I haven't done any screaming beforehand. Yeah. But that's not really going to work.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, Corey Taylor does it, because he's like the master at that, isn't he?
Yeah, he really impresses me. Like, I don't know how he does that, because he really screams down the mic.
And then the next song will be like some sort of ballad almost.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wow. Good range.
The next one's Dead Memories, and it's like, okay, that's pretty good.
He must have had some good training. I've always
absolutely
everything he does, he seems to put his heart and soul into it, and he's got a great voice. There's no doubt about it. He can do both equally as well. Yeah. That's what makes him so versatile. Like when he did he did a track with the Foo Fighters, didn't he? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, which one was that?
I can't remember what it was, but that was the first time I really saw him sing properly like that. Because obviously he does some singing with Slipknot, but it's still quite aggressive.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, that's when I realised that guy can sing.
I could look that up.
Yeah.
Let me find out what
Pull
the
it
track
up,
was.
Tech.
I will.
He's worked with a few different artists, hasn't he? Like, they did... what was that song that he did? It was on the Dio tribute album, and I think he did... Was it Rainbow in the Dark that he covered?
Yeah, that's right.
That was brilliant. That was really good. I enjoyed that song.
Yeah, no, that was good. He's... I like listening to him talk as well. He does a good interview. Except when he starts going into political... he talks about politics and stuff. I switch off then.
That's the same in most musicians, to be honest. They've all got... Everyone wants to hear them talk about music. As soon as they get into politics, it's like, oh, no, you're a bit of a dick, actually.
Yeah, well, it's not really... For me, I'm just not interested to hear his opinions on it. I'd rather hear him talk about music and stuff like that. stuff.
Yeah, well, that's
which
what he
why
does, isn't it? That's
yeah.
the stuff you want to hear his opinions on.
Yeah, there's a debate on another podcast I was listening to. I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been Eddie Trunk's podcast about whether, like, should musicians are they qualified? Because he's bringing out a book on politics, Corey Taylor, and the debate was are musicians qualified to bring out a book on politics? But I was thinking, well, technically not, but it's just a book of his opinions on politics. It's not as if he's bringing out his own policies on anything.
That's true. Yeah. Well, he's entitled to his opinion, of course. Anybody can write down their opinions. It's just whether anyone wants to listen to him or not.
Well, I'm sure enough people will. I'm sure he won't lose money on it. But he's very opinionated, and he's got a lot of fans, so I'm sure people will buy it and read it. But
I think it'll be a good seller.
Yeah. I bought one of his books, which was partly about the band, but then also it went into like his views on politics and the world and stuff like that. And I got a bit bored. I don't know if he has brought an actual just autobiography out of himself. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has or not.
That would be an interesting read. Because the whole Slipknot story is quite interesting as well.
Yeah, they've got quite an interesting history. Yeah. I remember reading something online about he used to be homeless or something, didn't he, before he was in the band? And
yeah, something like that.
And he went from basically not having a penny to his name to being the frontman of one of the most recognised metal bands in the world.
Exactly, and that's the kind of story you want to read, isn't it?
Something inspirational.
Have you read a lot of musicians' autobiographies?
I haven't, to be honest. I'm not usually a big reader, but I read things online. But I don't usually go out and buy a copy of someone's autobiography and just sit there and read it. But
I do.
I think do you? Which one have you read recently?
I've not read one recently actually, but I've like Slash's. I mean, I don't read at all apart from people's autobiographies.
Oh, okay.
I just start reading it. Well, I've got a Kindle, so I just get it downloaded to my Kindle.
I bought Slash's autobiography as a Christmas present for my dad, so I might have to borrow that off him and give it a read.
Yeah, it's a really good. Duff McKagan's is probably one of the best ones I've ever read. I've read that. So good. I've read it twice.
Oh, is it that good? Yeah.
It's the only one I've ever read twice. It's just about the whole struggle of how they started, literally just being like destitute and having zero money and living hand to mouth and wondering where their next meal's going to come from, to being one of the biggest bands in the world. You know, how the story of how they got to that. Like, obviously they've had a few lineup changes before it actually got to that classic lineup. But even when they first started, like, just booking a tour up the East Coast, and just because they knew some of the members probably weren't going to commit to doing it, because, you know, they all had jobs and trying to save money for it, and it would mean taking time off work. And I think Slash and Duff just knew that these, I can't remember who it was before they joined, but a couple of members weren't up to scratch, and they just thought, well, let's book a tour and we'll see how they handle it. And obviously they bailed, so that was the end of them. But that's kind of what you need to do, isn't it? Test people.
Well, that's it. Yeah. You got to make sure people are going to be suitable for the role. I mean, it's not an easy life. You know, people think it's just all about, you know, partying and playing music and having a good time, but it's actually really difficult.
I think some people still have that golden goggles view of the back in the day when it's all about, you know, it's you just see if you sign a record label, you've made it. Some people still think that.
Yeah, it's definitely not the case.
Because you just pretty much ignore the major labels. You just go for independence, because that's how you operate these days, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Because like the majors aren't going to look at you until you've done all the work yourself, basically.
I think the way that you've got to see it these days is you've got to sort of put a package together. You've got to present yourself as a product. You know, you've got to have
the
pictures and the videos and the album and the biography and the website and you package everything together, and then you go and you say, you know, this is the complete product. You know, you go, you know, there's something to sell.
Yeah, you have to do because you don't have people scouting out at big gigs anymore, do you? Looking for the next big thing.
No, not like it used to be.
No, you'll only get that at a band who's already been going a while and created a bit of momentum on their own. They just sort of come in and scoop them up and say, right, we'll take it from here, when you've already done all the hard work yourself.
Yeah.
It's just kind of soul destroying, but it's just the way it is. But that's why a lot of bands are just going DIY now. Like, we haven't got any management now. We haven't got any label. We put out that last EP ourselves, and it was the best release we've ever had. So.
Also, is it Raz not managing you guys anymore?
No, not since beginning of last year.
Okay, I didn't know.
No, we just decided that, you know, all this money that you pay out for various things, it's just keep it for ourselves. And, you know, we've learned a lot along the way. Why don't this is all stuff that we could do ourselves, so we did.
Yeah, fair enough.
Probably the best decision we made. A bit more freedom to do what you want or turn things down that you don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, it's a real shame though that there's not the same kind of support that there used to be. Like, it's really difficult for a band like us to sort of, actually make it big to the point where we can earn a living off our music, because we've all got jobs and we've all got other lives, and the music, as much as it's a huge part of our lives, it is a hobby at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And to get to the point where you go from being a band of our size to being a full-time professional band, you've got all those bits in the middle where you need to be booking holidays off work, and you've got to pump so much money into it, and to get from A to C and to go through that B bit is very difficult, because you can't just sort of give up your job not having a regular income. We've all got mortgages to pay or rent to pay and bills to pay, and it's pretty much impossible, really.
Yeah, that gap's never been, that step to the next level's never been bigger, I don't think.
No, definitely not.
That's why you get even like medium-sized bands now who, in a similar situation to us, they could like probably sell out medium to large venues, but still then do work over a weekend, or when they're not touring, they've still got jobs, which with 25 years ago would never have been the case. Before it's all before the internet, really, isn't it?
You could argue the internet's been like one of the best and one of the worst things for music.
I exactly think that's what it is. It's the best and the worst thing that's happened. It makes it easier to get stuff out there, but so can everybody, so that everyone just gets bombarded with all this kind of music, and you can't. It's very hard to stand out from the crowd now. Whereas before, there was very limited ways that people could reach fans, like magazines, radio, and live shows. But now the internet, it's just everyone gets bombarded all the time by million bands. So how do you stand out?
It is very difficult to stand out. Yeah, to try and make yourself known, because there's just thousands and thousands of other bands out there all trying to do the same thing, and people don't really have the time to sit there and listen to thousands and thousands of bands. And
no, I think like promoters and everything get bombarded a lot more by bands. I just think there generally are more bands because it's easier. Like even like we say, recording home demos to a reasonable quality is never used to be possible. So everyone can do that now. So obviously it's going to allow a lot more people to get stuff done out there.
It definitely does, yeah. I mean, someone like me, I'm no producer. I've got really no idea what I'm doing. I just downloaded some easy to use software from the internet and hooked my microphone up, and just it was basically trial and error. I messed with things until it sounded the way I wanted it to sound. I didn't spend thousands of pounds on the best equipment. I just got some basic stuff together, and even with all those limitations, I still managed to produce demos that were reasonable quality.
Yeah, well, I mean, some bands even put the whole album out like that. They'll like maybe buy some mastering software to make it sound as good as it can, but just put it out. The only difficult thing about home recording is the drums.
Oh yeah, I always use software for that.
Yeah, I'll use Easy Drummer, the drum kit from hell. It's immense, just because it's hard to you can't bypass that needing to have a real drum setup with mics and all over 30 mics or however many you need to get that sound. So it's better to just get a really good digital drum sound for the demos anyway.
Yeah,
but it's amazing what you can achieve. I've actually, because I've used it so many times, I can tell when I hear a band's song if it's real, if they've been using that software. I recognise that cymbal, recognise that snare.
Yes, I know that snare.
But you've got to do what you got to do, because there's no really way around it. I don't know what you guys do for your demos. You do something similar?
Well, for the demos that I make, I use a program called Rhythm Rascal, which it's pretty much just a drum programming software, just free to download online, and that's and then I just export the tracks into Crystal Audio Engine, and that's how I do it. Yeah, but for the album that we're working on at the moment, we've got we've got a real drum kit. We went to the studio and we mic'd up properly, and I'm hoping it's going to sound a lot better than the demos that I produce. So
what studio are you recording the album at?
We went to Noise Boy Studios in Manchester, and our producer's actually Stuart Armriding, one of the guitarists from Soma Dark. I don't know if you're familiar with Soma Dark.
Yeah.
So we had to go to Noise Boy to do the drums because his home studio wasn't really equipped to set up a drum kit, and I don't think his neighbours would have been too happy either.
Oh, okay.
And then the rest of it we've just recorded at his home studio.
All right, cool. So when's that coming out?
As soon as possible.
Right,
we've been working on this for a long time. But
what stage is it at now?
We've got just solos and probably about 3/4 of the vocals to finish off, and then that's it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, it should be, maybe a couple of months, something like that.
So have you been putting much on social media about it?
We posted we posted the artwork. We got Andy Pilkington to design the artwork
I was
for
just
it.
going to mention his name. He is a sponsor. He sponsors this podcast. So.
Oh, does he? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we got him to do the artwork, and we put that out in October, I think it was. And the original plan was to release the album in December. We actually booked the album launch gig, and then we just had various setbacks, and we just decided it's not going to be ready, and we don't want to rush it, because we want it to turn out really well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially considering how long we've been working on this.
Yeah. How long have you been working on it?
Oh well, we actually started recording, I don't know, maybe about 18 months ago, something like that.
Right.
But some of the riffs that are in some of the songs that are on this album I wrote years ago. So this has been a long time in the making.
Okay, yeah. That's cool. So where have you recorded your previous stuff that you've put out?
The previous EP, which was the 2-track EP that we released about 2 years ago, I think it was. We did that with Stuart as well, in his home studio.
Okay. So what have you had out before that?
That's it.
Okay. So this is
just the EP.
Is this your debut album then?
This is the debut album, yeah.
Right, yeah. Cool. And what's it going to be called?
It's going to be called From the Fire,
Right.
which is the
seeing
title
that.
of one of the songs
Yeah,
on there.
I remember seeing that, yeah. And the artwork is pretty sweet.
Oh, it's awesome, yeah. Yeah, he really hit the nail on the head there. It was fantastic.
He's very easy to work with, isn't he? He knows what he's doing.
He is, yeah. He's a really nice guy, yeah.
I literally for Destruction Complete, I had that image in my head, but I didn't. I just drew a little sketch on a piece of paper, took a photo on my phone, sent it to him, and like put a little bit of a paragraph about what my thoughts are on it, and then in about I don't know 2 hours later, he just sent me an image, and I was like, that's pretty much exactly what I was talking about. I was like, wow. It took a few tweaks, about a week later we had it, and it's just like, wow.
Is that the one with the Earth and it's kind of like being destroyed? And,
yeah. The concept
that is awesome.
The concept is basically the Earth. We're killing the Earth either in two ways: nuclear war, blowing ourselves up, or just by neglecting the planet and not taking care of it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a fast forward to the future. It's pretty grim.
Yeah, it's good for heavy metal though.
Oh yes, it's good subject matter. I don't do subject matter of sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that stuff that's been said a million times. I don't go for that.
Yeah,
and
neither
do you. No, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, so if anyone's listening, if you're looking to work with very metal art, if you quote DNM10, you'll get 10% off your first order. Just thought I'd get that advert in there. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I'm glad he agreed to be on board with this podcast. He did the logo for the podcast as well, with our logo with the headphones on it. Yeah, he did that for free as well because he's just a nice guy. But he works with so many bands. Like his schedule just must be ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Well, he takes bookings like months in advance, doesn't he?
Yeah, he keeps putting things up saying, "I'm booked up till August now."
2019.
Yeah.
2019,
That's August 2020. Yeah.
But that's a good sign. He did. Was it Flotsam and Jetsam's last album as well?
He did. Yeah.
He's working his way up there. I don't think it'll be long before we see him some massive band with his artwork. I'd be like, wow.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The only one he hasn't got a chance with is Iron Maiden because they're pretty locked in with theirs, I'd say.
Yeah.
That same guy's been doing their albums covers since the first one. I can't remember his name.
Was it just the same guy that's done them all?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, which is pretty sweet gig for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
be a cool job title. Like, I'm Iron Maiden's artist. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he does other stuff as well, but sits around waiting every 4 years for them to call.
Yeah.
I need a paycheck from Iron Maiden. But that's because Iron Maiden is probably some of the most iconic artwork I can think of.
Derek Riggs is his
Derek
name.
Riggs, that's him. That's him, yeah.
There he goes.
Born 13th of February 1958. Just in case you wondered.
Created the mascot as well.
Yeah, he created Eddie as well.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's
I
cool.
wonder if they had other people doing stuff for them and just put a few feelers out to people. Can you design or something? And then he came back with that and went, that's what we're having.
Yeah. you win.
You win. Yeah. Bit like Andy Pilkington.
Sometimes you just know, don't you? You just see something and you don't even know really what you're looking for, but you see it and you're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, sometimes they can help you work out what it is you want. You have a rough idea, and then they sort of fill in the gaps for you. That's kind of, Andy Pilkington definitely does that, because I remember we've worked with him before on t-shirt designs, and he sometimes says, "Well, what about this?" And you go, "Oh yeah, that works." He has it. Yeah, he's not afraid to have his own ideas and like do them and then show them to you. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good to have a bit of creative input like that.
Yeah. So roughly, when are you hoping to have this album out by then?
I think realistically, we're probably looking at what is it now, near the end of March. So I say optimistically, possibly middle of May, something like that.
Cool. Yeah, because you either want to get it out before or after festival season, I would say.
Yeah.
Do a little. Are you planning on doing much of a tour to promote it then?
We possibly will, yeah. I mean, to be honest, we haven't played a lot of shows outside of Manchester. We've done Manchester to death, and we want to tour around a bit more. We want to play maybe somewhere in the Midlands, go down south, and just tour around and play some new venues.
Yeah. Have you played the Brickyard up our way before, Carlisle?
We haven't actually. No. Was it a decent venue?
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, we might have to sort that out with you then. I think that could be an option.
I think we should. Yeah. It's been a while since we played together.
Yeah, it has actually. I can't remember what it was. Was it at the Sanctuary, Burnley?
It might have been actually. Yeah. What was that, like 2 years ago?
Yeah, because I think we might have played there twice. Because I think you played with us when we headlined there, and before that with Absolver, I think it was.
Yeah, and we played in Oldham as well. Didn't we? At Whittles.
Yes, that was good. That was a good gig.
It was, yeah.
That was pretty packed. I've not seen the Absolver boys for a while.
No, I don't think I have actually. No, it's been a while.
I see them around. I saw them last month when I was at the Anthrax gig in Manchester.
Oh right, yeah.
But both Luke and Chris were there.
Well, actually, I say that Luke was at our gig on Friday, so I spoke to him for a bit.
Oh, he's a nice guy, Luke.
Yeah. I always forget how young he is. It's like 21, 22. But he looks about, if he shaves, he looks about 12.
Yeah. It's all about the beard.
I remember he put a picture up when he'd shaved. I think he was on tour somewhere, and he goes, "I'm never shaving again."
Yeah, no.
See, we learn from our mistakes. We find out the hard way.
Yeah, you've got a monster beard on the go, you have.
Oh, I've shaved mine down.
Oh, have you?
It's been trimmed, yeah. Although it was never as monstrous as our bassist beard.
Oh, yeah.
That is true. That is some beard. That
Dan's beard is epic. I think it's nearly as old as me.
That is a bilf, otherwise known as a beard I'd like to fondle.
Oh.
Excellent. That's the first time I've heard that.
Oh, that's quite a common. If you Barry Mills of Massive Wagons always wears a hat that says "bilf" on the top of it.
All right, okay.
And I asked him what it was, and that's what he said. I think he has sometimes has a T-shirt that says that as well.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, people love beards, don't they?
Fantastic.
Beards are great.
Have
you ever seen the Beards? The band, the Beards?
Yeah, I have. They do some quality
amazing
stuff. Yeah, some of their songs are hilarious. I was going to say when I hit puberty, I think I'll try and grow a beard. It's just not happened so far.
Was it ZZ Top?
Yeah.
Both the guitarists.
Yeah.
Those two guys, they have like ginormous beards.
Yeah.
And the drummer, he's called Frank Beard.
He's the only one who doesn't have a beard. That's hilarious.
That's irony for you.
Yeah, I'm sure they must have done that. I bet he did have a beard. They said, "Oh, he on his beard, so just shave it off, and then it can be a novelty act."
That can be our gimmick.
Yeah. So what are some of your...
You can just imagine that conversation.
Yeah, I can imagine it, yeah. Have a meeting about it. Yeah. Let's have a beard meeting.
Okay. Look, I've had a fantastic idea. Bear with me a second. Right?
Shaves it off and comes back. What do you think? What if they said no? I was going to ask you, what are some of your most memorable gigs? When did you start, by the way, Amethyst?
We actually became Amethyst in early 2014, I think it was.
Right. Yeah.
And before then, we were actually called Ashes of Lydia, which is the band that I started after I left Soma Dark.
Okay. I did not know you were in Soma Dark.
Yeah, I was quite a long time ago, maybe. Was it like 8 or 9 years ago, something? Oh, wow. I wasn't with them for very long, but yeah, I used to sing for them.
Ah, right. Just sing or play guitar as well?
It was just sing. Yeah, I was just on vocals.
I'd be lost without a guitar on stage if I had to sing. Just sing.
Yeah, I must admit it was a bit weird. I really wanted to play guitar, and I sort of had different musical tastes to them, and so it wasn't really working for me, and it wasn't really working for them. So that's why we ended up parting ways, really. And right. I just wanted to play guitar, and there was never going to be an opportunity for me to do that in Soma because the other two, there's no way they were going to leave the band.
That's true. Yeah. So then, what was the band before?
So when I left Summer Dark, I actually started my own band called Ashes of Validia.
Right.
And basically, I was just a bedroom guitarist at that point, and I was just coming up with riffs and recording ideas. And eventually, I went onto a website called Join My Band.
That's how we got started. It keeps coming up in these podcasts. How band started, that website. It's
everybody loves Join My Band. It's great.
Yeah.
But I find that everybody's looking for bass players and vocalists.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Metal bass player wanted, metal bass player wanted, metal vocalist wanted. Yeah. Everywhere.
Yeah, and the same person puts up the same advert over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Guys, we must have someone needs to give those guys some credit somewhere along the way. We need a list of bands that have formed through that website.
Yeah, it's a cool website. Yeah,
it's probably every band that we know.
It could be in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. So you got that. So you got that lineup through that website then.
Well, yeah. When I first wanted to join my band, I found a couple of guys that wanted to join up, and we wrote some stuff together, and we practiced together for a while. And some members left, and other members joined, and it was really difficult to get a consistent lineup. People were either not serious about it, or it wasn't really for them, and eventually we just realised that we weren't really making any progress, and we weren't getting anywhere. And I actually almost abandoned the idea of Ashes of Validia. I nearly just said, sod it, we'll just scrap it and start again. And I went for an audition with a band called Insidium. I don't know if you've ever...
I've heard of them. The name rings
heard Insidium?
Yeah.
And they were looking for a new guitarist, so I decided to audition with them. And it was just exactly the sort of music that I wanted to play. It was fast, it was thrashy, it was a bit like Amethyst is today, really.
Right, yeah.
And shortly after the audition, unfortunately, one of the guys, he moved, and it wasn't really feasible to continue with the band. Right. So Insidium split before I ever actually got a chance to play with them.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But luckily, shortly after that, I noticed that their drummer, Chris, he was looking for another band. And I got in touch and I asked if he fancied coming down for a jam with Ashes of Validia. And he did. And that's when Amethyst sort of started.
So how did you come up with the name? It's a stone, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It was actually Dan who came up with the name. He just said, we were thinking after Chris joined, and eventually after Dan joined, also from Join My Band, and then Simon joined, and then we said, because we were such a far cry from the way the band used to be.
Yeah.
We needed a fresh start and a name change, and we'll sort of we'll remarket ourselves, and we came up with all these different name ideas, and Dan just said, I think Amethyst would make a good name for a band, just like that. And he was like, yeah, all right, yeah, fine. We'll call ourselves Amethyst.
Did you do your research on the name?
The research on the name?
Yeah, did you look at? Was there many other bands with that name? Did you do that?
Okay, there are quite a few other bands with the name Amethyst. Yeah, there are. I don't know if there are any big bands with the name Amethyst.
I don't think so.
I don't know if you know any.
No, I do the same thing. If I'm going to be talking to people from various bands, I look them up, I Google them and see what else comes up just to see.
Hopefully, we won't get done for copyright or anything.
No, I don't think so. But that's one of the reasons why we changed our name, because I don't know if you know, but we used to be called Dynamo.
Yeah, like the magician.
Yeah, but when we signed the management deal, it was a case of you're gonna come up for problems here, because not only have you got the magician, who just happened to be getting big as we were getting started, but there's also a million other bands called that. If you look, I remember looking it up in Facebook, and there was just, you have to scroll down and down and down before you found us, and people just aren't going to do that. If they can't find you, they'll just give up.
Yeah.
So we had a long list of names, and he thought this name was cool, and he thought this name was cool, but he doesn't like that name, and we couldn't agree on anything. And it was literally the last name on the list was at the bottom was Dynamo. Then it kind of sounded a bit like Dynamo, especially when people shouting it. Usually shout Dynamo, and then we say Dynamo. It kind of sounds sounds similar. And it was the only name where we all kind of went, yeah, quite like that. And then it just right, we're doing it because we're running out of time. So that's how we became Dynamo.
That's cool. I always wish that I had some kind of exciting and interesting story as to why we were called Amethyst. I've thought from time to time, I've thought about making something up, right? Let's make up a funny story about why we're called Amethyst. But no, Dan just plucked it out of thin air.
Yeah, it's a good name. No, I like it. I like your logo as well, because have you just redone your logo as well?
We got someone actually got in touch with us on Facebook. An artist. He just sent us a message saying if you ever want any work doing or anything, just drop me a line. So we got in touch with him and said we're looking to get a new logo done. I think that was about, I don't know, maybe 18 months, 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And he came back with the logo that we've got now, and it was like, yeah, that's perfect. We really like that. So that's how that came about.
It's spot on. I think it's just what you needed. It stands out. It stands out more than the other one.
It was just a really crappy text generator one we were using at first.
Yeah. I think it stands out a bit more. It's a bit more of like a brand. Like you said before, you are a brand, so you need something that's a bit more iconic, I suppose. That stands out a bit more recognisable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's good for t-shirts as well.
Yeah, that's true. I can't wait to get that new album artwork on a t-shirt. I think that's going to look really good.
Have you done many t-shirt designs over the years? Then have you been big on t-shirts?
Well, we've got t-shirts with the new logo on. We haven't got any with the album cover on yet, but we will have. Did
you do any for your EP or anything like that?
Yeah, we did. We got some t-shirts done with the old logo for the EP, and it was actually it was sort of like a shield with an A on it. And some amethyst crystals coming out from behind, which one of my friends designed.
Yeah.
And we got a few t-shirts printed with that logo on there. And we didn't get any more done after they sold out. We thought we're going to move on to the album shortly, so there's no point in getting more t-shirts printed with the old logo.
Yeah. T-shirts are always it's part of your income now, isn't it? You've got to sort of rely on it, so you need to do some good ones.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Especially when a lot of the gigs that we play, we don't actually get paid for.
Well, yeah, sometimes you can sort of make up for it on merchandise if it wasn't a paid gig.
Yeah.
But as you get on, you try to limit your gigs that you don't get paid for. You should be anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, we don't do it for the money. We're not going to turn down a good gig just because we're not getting paid. But if we do get paid, it's always a nice bonus.
Yeah. But if you start doing too many gigs without getting paid, it can grind you down because you've always got your expenses. But like fuel and food and stuff.
Yeah, it's really expensive being in a band. I mean, it's very difficult to actually break even. Never mind actually make money from it.
That's it. I think that's your goal number one, is to get the band in a situation where it can pay for itself, so no one's personally having to pay for everything anyway.
Yeah, and then at least you can do your hobby and it's not costing you anything.
Yeah, even just that first step, I think that's probably one of the biggest steps, because it's not as easy as it sounds. People think it is.
Oh, it's definitely not easy at all.
Just to get. I mean, you've got to pay for. Where do you guys rehearse?
We rehearse at Manchester Bone Rooms, which is Brunswick Mill near Manchester City Stadium.
Okay, so
we've got a permanent room there.
Oh, right, cool. You just play like a monthly thing, and you just keep all your stuff there.
Yeah, we share with another band. They've just moved in recently. Actually, I can't remember what their name is. We haven't actually met them yet. We've only spoken to them over text message. Okay. But yeah, we share with another band, which obviously halves the rent, which is good.
Yeah.
And then we just split it between us.
It's cool to have somewhere you can keep your gear, and you don't have to completely pack everything down and then set it all up again every time you practice.
Oh, that would be a nightmare. We used to do that. We eventually got storage in the old place that we used to practice, so we didn't have to pack all the cabs and everything back into the cars every week, and that was a nightmare. We hated doing that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But at least in this new room, we can leave stuff set up. So we just walk in, get the guitar out, and we're ready to go.
Yeah. What's some of your most memorable gigs so far? Then I'm guessing Bloodstock's up there.
Yeah, Bloodstock's definitely up there. Yeah, we loved that. That was a fantastic experience.
We just watched one of your videos playing there before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Good crowd as well.
And, yeah, it was. Yeah, we were a bit concerned actually because we were on first on the new Blood stage.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
And it was like, I can't remember what time it was. It might have been like 11 o'clock or 10:30 or something like that. It was quite early.
I was there. Got up out of bed especially to go and see Amethyst.
Oh, and I appreciate that, man.
It was good.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't happen at Bloodstock. I think people make an event of that first band.
Yeah,
they make sure they're there.
I think it helps as well because even though we were on early, we were the only band playing at that time. So if everyone wanted to watch a band, there was only us on.
That's kind of worked in your favour, I think, because other bands, the crowd sort of disperse because they can't see all the bands that they want, so they have to choose.
That's it, yeah. And just as we were finishing up, we just heard Savage Messiah starting on the main stage, which we missed because we were packing up.
They are a brilliant band.
They're a fantastic band, yeah.
Is it Dave Silver, the singer?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might contact him. I've got him on Facebook. Contact him, get him on the podcast at some point. I think he'd be an interesting guest.
Yeah, that'd be cool, yeah.
Because he
would, yeah.
Because he goes over to LA and stuff to do various things. I keep seeing him doing.
I bet that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, because they had quite a steady rise, didn't they? I don't know much about their early days, but I remember these last couple of years, well, maybe 3, 4, 5 years, they've kind of evolved a lot and played bigger and bigger venues and doing better headline shows and stuff.
Yeah, they've really made a good name for themselves.
Yeah. Have you seen them before, Tech?
Yeah, well, the Bloodstock.
Yeah,
I went to watch them.
Watch that one,
but
yeah.
I don't know too much about them. I don't listen to them a lot, but I know that they're a good band and they've done well for themselves.
I saw them at SOS in 2015.
Really?
They were there. They were the headline. They were the headline band. Oh no, Absolver were headlining. Savage Messiah were main support.
Right. Okay. But yeah, great band.
I think were you at that one, James?
Yeah, we played 2015.
You played the Friday, didn't you? Or did you play early on the Saturday?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we played on the Friday. It was 2014. We played on the Saturday.
Yeah, because you played with Colobus, I think, on that night.
Yeah.
Friday, I think it was.
Yeah, we did. Oh yeah. Well, Colobus were they headlining that night? Or was it Triaxis that were headlining that night?
Oh, it was Triaxis. Yeah, Triaxis were headlining. Yeah.
Also,
all great bands.
Another amazing band.
Yeah, they all are. Yeah, Colobus seem to do well. They get some good gigs in Europe as well.
Yeah,
like Graspomp and stuff.
Aaron, our current drummer, used to drum for Colobus.
Oh, right. Yeah. Cool. Small musical circles, eh?
Yeah, everybody seems to know everybody. It's like this little family, and everybody's connected.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, especially in this underground industry, as I like to call it, because it is the underground music industry. It's people working hard and having jobs and doing as much as they can, but still trying to present their band as a professional sort of entity. It's like, but you've all got to sort of come together to sort of make it work, haven't you?
That's it. Yeah, you have. Yeah.
I mean, it's
all about who you know and establishing connections.
Yeah.
And, as much as it is about writing music and playing shows. It's the relationships that you have with people. It's just as important.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can be the best band in the world, but if you've got the wrong attitude or you're not nice people, promoters and stuff don't want to work with you.
Rightly so as well. You wouldn't want to work with someone that's just going to be difficult or rude or inconsiderate.
Or unprofessional.
Why would you?
Like that. Yeah, exactly. It's part. Some people don't realize that. I don't think. I think they learn the hard way, or they just don't learn and they end up not lasting very long.
They try and have that sort of rock star attitude. I can do what I want and I can say what I want, and I'm going to rebel, and it doesn't really work like that.
No, we've all come across those people. It's just trying to keep a close network of people that you can trust and who are professional and show up on time and aren't self-centered or attention seekers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's I don't see as much of that these days. I think the industry is so tough it kind of weeds those people out.
Yeah, I'm happy to say that most people that we've ever come into contact with have been really nice. I think that about people that are into this sort of music in general are just really nice people. Most of them are just you can just have a really good chat with people, and
get that
if you run into somebody that's wearing a heavy metal t-shirt and then you realise that they're a fan as well, it's almost like having an instant friend. Like you've got something in common. And
it's like a little club, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like, oh, you're into heavy metal as well. It's like, we should have a bit of a chat, even though we don't know each other.
Yeah, you get that with the fans as well. Like when you see the fans that come to the gigs, and it's kind of their little community as well. Like we've had one of our previous episodes, Simon Furness. He lives up here in Cumbria where we are, but he goes to Hard Rock Hell, and he goes to see he's got a very eclectic live music taste, but he's got a whole community of people who he only knows through going to gigs and via the internet that wouldn't have existed previously. But that's the beauty of it, and people stick together, and it is a sense of community that's kind of what's keeping it going. That's what will keep it going in the future as well. Like keeps coming up about when the bigger bands are gone, this underground music scene will become more and more prominent, I think, and more people will have to sort of go to it to get new music. Yeah.
I mean, some people have said that heavy metal's dying out and rock's dead, and it's not. It's thriving. It's bigger than ever. It's just people need to look in the right places for it.
Yeah, those are people who aren't really paying attention. They're just sort of looking out from the outside.
Yeah,
all they're seeing at the top level, really.
The big bands that are sort of
the big bands are dying out. Those are the ones that are actually. I mean, they can still sell venues out, but they're running out of time.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to keep going forever.
No, like Iron Maiden. How much longer have they got? They're all a fair age.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that they would have called it quits by now. So I mean, it can't be that much longer.
No, and there was talk of AC/DC doing another album, but having Axl as vocals. I was like, I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Not sure how I feel about that one.
No, I'm not. I don't mind them helping him out live for a while, but I think they should just call it a day.
Yeah. Well, like Black Sabbath, they said they were gonna. They've called it quits properly now, apparently, but they've said that a couple of times before, haven't they? And the big
you never really know.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of a cash thing to sort of for the older established bands to say this is a farewell tour, so everyone it sells out,
gets in there,
and then they're like a couple of years and they go, oh, we're going to come back now.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like they said, right, this is it. This is the final ever. It's like we're ending. We're finished. From touring,
yeah,
but just
here's an album.
Yeah, we're still here, just in the rafters.
You never quite know what you're gonna get. Like Ozzy,
that's just a really clever way of selling out shows.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it works. So people love those bands and they've built up that fan base over the years, so you can't argue with them. But it's just a bit weird, really. But like I say, all those bands they are running out of time. Even like the Metallica, all the debacle about these ticket sales, but.
Oh yeah. That was it Friday they announced that?
God, my entire news feed was just filled.
Yeah, mine too.
One post would be like, "Stop complaining. They're a good band. They can charge these prices, so people are going to pay." And the next thing's too pricey for me. I'm not going. I'm done with Metallica. It's like
it is what it is. At the end of the day, if you want to go, fine, buy a ticket. If you don't, there's no point in whinging about it.
No, I put up the post. I just said, "Look, that's the price it is to see those level bands these days." AC/DC wasn't much less than that. I think it was 85 for the stadium shows. That's just what it is. That's what it's going to be. So people are going to pay it. It sells out. So they're not necessarily doing anything wrong. Just because it's out of your price range doesn't really make any difference. Yeah. That's obviously not. It's not a gig for you. Go to a smaller gig. Go to the medium size or the smaller venues.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think the way I'd look at it is if they don't sell any tickets, they're overcharging. If they sell out, they're not overcharging, obviously, because they've sold out.
Bang on the money. There you are. I think,
and they will. Every venue is going to be sold out.
They will, and to the people who can afford it, do it. Make the most of it because, like we said, they ain't going to be here much longer. So
exactly.
Seeing why
I'm going to see them. I'm going to buy a ticket.
I'm undecided. I'm thinking about it. If I do, I might go to the Glasgow one because that venue. I've not been to that venue. I don't like Manchester Arena that much. It's all right, but it's not as
the sound isn't brilliant at Manchester Arena.
No, it's not as. It doesn't have that intimate feel. It's just a bit too big, I think. And if you're not going to be anywhere near the front, it's just a bit. Yeah. You lose that kind of. I mean, it's still cool to be there. I've seen him enough times anyway. But I might go to I think it's at the Hydro in Glasgow. I'm thinking about it.
Oh, nice. I've seen them twice before, and one of those times was at the arena. Was that shortly after Death Magnetic came out? Was that 8 years ago or something like that?
I was at that one. Yeah. That was a good gig.
And that was a great gig. That because one of my favorite, probably my favorite band were on main support, Machine Head.
Yeah, they were good.
When I bought the ticket, I had no idea who was going to be supporting them, and then when I found out it was Machine Head, I was like, "Oh, that's a result." Yeah,
I remember that they kept that quiet. I don't know why. I don't know if they didn't have anyone or they just thought, "Well, just keep them waiting." But I was like, "Oh, bonus!" Going to see.
I remember I went with my dad actually. My dad's a Metallica fan. He's not as much into the heavy stuff as I am, but he wasn't a huge fan of Machine Head. But I don't think the sound did them justice that night. I think the drums were massively overpowering, and I've seen them with a much better sound than that.
Yeah, I saw them at Newcastle on that tour as well, and they were much better. The sound was much better there.
Was that the private show that they did?
No, Newcastle Arena. It was just another date on that tour. But on the Death
because they did like a small venue tour, didn't they, Machine Head?
Oh yeah, no, I just meant I saw Machine Head on the Metallica tour on another date.
Okay, so you went to 2 dates on that tour.
Yeah, well, I'd won backstage meet and greets for Metallica, so.
Oh, nice.
So, ended up doing that, and but yeah, I remember because I'd never seen Machine Head before then, and I remember seeing them just being blown away because that was when the Blackening. I think it was the Blackening was just come out then, hadn't it?
A couple of years prior, I think.
Oh, was it? Right, yeah. But I remember
they toured with the album for about 3 years or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that was the one that was the one that they were pushing as well. But that I hadn't really listened to it. But I remember I got it, I bought it, and listened to it, and I really enjoyed it. Machine Head is not a band that at first I was a bit. I remember when Davidian back in was it the early 90s, 94 when that came out. I liked that, but I'd kind of not listened to them since then, and that kind of brought them back to my attention. I don't know if you.
Oh, they're an amazing band, so talented.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Rob Flynn is a cool frontman as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think they've marketed themselves very well.
Yeah, yeah, they've certainly got the brand and they do a lot of cool stuff online as well.
And Rob Flynn with his journal entries as well. You know, he sort of like updates a lot of his thoughts, and they're quite interesting if you ever give him a read.
Yeah, I've read some of them. Yeah, he's another one, but like Corey Taylor, he's always got a lot to say. He's very he's quite insightful.
He is, yeah. He's an interesting bloke.
Yeah, I remember he had a lot to say when the whole Phil Anselmo racial thing. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Dime Bash.
The white power thing that he did, yeah.
He tried to play it down, but then Rob Flynn put on this video, didn't he, slating him, and then he
did, yeah.
Then he did one.
He jumped right on that one.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting to watch. But
and what did Phil say? He was referring to some white wine or something they were drinking backstage.
Yeah, he said that because he said he'd had a conversation with those people who were heckling him previously. He said he knew them, so. But take that with a pinch.
He must have known that wasn't going to go down well, whether it was a joke or not.
It's not the first time he said something like that for him, is it? It's nothing new for him.
No.
He's always had that sort of. He's always like one word or one phrase away from causing major controversy somewhere.
Yeah.
But he's just such an intimidating guy.
He is, yeah.
Especially when they were in their prime, when he started shaving his head. Remember that? He looked very scary.
Has he become the guy that everyone loves to hate?
Yeah, I think he has.
To...
He's taken over from Dave Mustaine.
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine's now retired in that category now. Everyone's back to
He stopped talking about politics and everyone doesn't mind him anymore.
That's it, yeah. What was the Pantera tribute band like?
They were really good. Yeah, they were awesome. I think the guitarist for the Pantera tribute band was also the guitarist for the Megadeth tribute band.
Wow, we had a busy night.
And the singer for for Shamtera was the drummer for Megadeth UK.
Oh, God.
Are they like a tour package? Do they just go everywhere together?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Guitarist for both those bands.
Crossovers going on there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as tribute bands go, I think I prefer like Shamtera of like there's an example of bands who don't exist anymore. I think that's like the best you can get is the tribute bands now. I'm not so up on bands where like I went to see a Megadeth tribute band not long after Dystopia came out, and I just remember thinking, but this band's still going, and they've just put out an album that's done really well. It's really good. It's a bit weird to playing tribute to a band that's still going strong.
Yeah, no, I don't get that either.
Almost feels a little bit like they're mooching off those other bands' new material. You know, it's like the tribute bands tend to get paid reasonably well for their shows as well, and they're playing this new material that a band's only just released, and then they're getting paid for it. You know, I don't know. It's good to see, but it kind of feels a bit wrong at the same time.
Yeah, especially when the band's probably going to come around your way and do a tour anyway. You could go and see the original band. I was much more like if you'd done a gig then with three tribute bands of bands that aren't going anymore. I think to me that would be more appealing.
Yeah. I mean, the Metallica tribute band, Metal Militia, they played Hardwired and Moth into Flame from the new album.
That's weird.
That's fair play to them. They did it justice, and I quite like those songs as well. But it
justice,
was a bit,
no pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean the tribute bands have their place, but it's just, I mean, venues obviously, like I said, they have to put on what they have to put on. They do what they think's best for business. They can't. I suppose they can't put original bands on all the time because they wouldn't draw. It's a tough thing to sort of schedule to work out. And imagine you've got to mix it up, like because you were the only original band on a band of three. Was there three other tribute bands?
Yeah, there was the three of them and us.
Yeah. And
somebody actually came up to me after and said, these tribute bands are really good, but it's like, it doesn't beat original material. And I was like, that means something, because
exactly, yeah, we need more people like that.
Comparing us to Metallica and Megadeth, and I know they were only tribute bands, but he was like, I prefer to listen to you playing your original stuff than to hear other bands playing other bands' stuff.
Yeah, we need more people like that.
Yeah, we do.
People who just think of the big bands. Yeah, like I've said before on the podcast about people's attitudes to only coming out for the bigger bands at the bigger venues. Like you say, like that, you need more people to go and see bands like you and us and start appreciating the fact that, because I don't know if they have like low expectations if they've never been for a while to see any unsigned bands or in the underground scene, that when they do, they're actually pleasantly surprised. And like that.
I think it's like there's sort of like a feeling that people get, if it's an unsigned band, they're going to be shit.
Yeah. They just
or if they're an opener, they're going to be shit. I've got friends who they'll buy tickets to go and see a band, and they'll purposefully turn up only to see that one band, and they're like, I'm not asked about the support, so I don't even know who they are. I don't want to see them, and it annoys me that because everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah, all their favourite bands were opening bands at one point.
Exactly. Nobody knew who Metallica were at one point. There'll be people that saw them in tiny little shitty clubs where no one had ever heard of them, and
yeah, exactly.
They must have watched them and thought, wow, these guys are amazing.
Yeah, that still happens today. There's still awesome bands at our level. I mean, we play with them all the time. You come across your band and you think, God, if they'd been doing this 30 years ago, they'd be massive. Do you know what I mean? It's just the way things have changed. But because people have latched onto those bigger bands, they stick with them, which is fair enough. But they've stopped that routine of still going to their small venues. They've just, as the bands got bigger, they went with them. They've kind of left the underground behind, which is kind of sad, really.
It is sad, yeah.
But
it's a real shame.
But like I'm saying, once I'm trying to envisage what's going to happen. Who's going to fill the void when the big bands are gone?
That's a very good question.
I'm struggling to work out. Are the medium-sized bands then going to become the big bands? And are they just going to stay at that medium level? That becomes big. Will stadium shows disappear and you'll only have bands doing the big academies or some of the Ritz or something like that? Will stadiums no longer hold those bands? I don't know if it's going to change the threshold.
It's entirely possible that heavy metal bands at some point will no longer play arena shows because even when the bigger bands like Metallica's and the Iron Maidens of the world, even when they stop touring, it doesn't automatically mean that the mid-level bands are just going to move up to arena shows because they're not going to play arenas if they're only selling a quarter of the tickets that they need to.
Yeah, exactly. Because younger people now don't value music the same way that we do. Well, the older generations have, because you're going to get people now who just think music's something that you just get for free.
Yeah,
that's even more sad.
Again, that's because of it's because of the internet and people downloading stuff, and it's the same with TV shows as well and films. Some people don't want to buy them because it's like, well, why would I? I can stream it online for free, or I can download it for free. It's like, why would I go out and spend 15 quid on a Blu-ray, or why would I go out and spend 10 quid on one album when I can download 20 albums in 3 minutes with my super fiber optic broadband?
Yeah. Or pay a tenner a month and just stream any music that I want all the time.
Yeah. I'm guilty of it as well. I listen to Spotify all the time.
I do. I've still got all my CDs upstairs, but I can never bother to go and get them. But they're all on Spotify.
In contrast, it doesn't look as though the film and TV industry have suffered as much at the hands of the internet.
No, not as much.
And you kind of wonder why.
It's just a different medium, I suppose, because you've always had the live aspect of band music. It's not just the finished product, like the recorded product. It's the live stuff that goes with it, which is still there. But I suppose because you have cinemas, people still like to go to the cinema. Yeah, you can't bypass that.
No,
but I think it might have something to do with the the amount of consumers there are for films and TV shows. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot more than there are for music. And there's a lot more choice for music as well. Like so a lot of people might not be into heavy metal, but they'll be into a different genre, but they all might like all the same films. So there's a lot more people buying the films, which is maybe why they haven't suffered as much.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Yeah, but it's just like we were saying before, I don't think people realise how tough it actually is. Like I wonder if younger people getting into bands now, like say someone who's 16, 17. I wonder what kind of view they have of where it can go or what their aspirations are, how different that is today from someone 25, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Be interesting. If they have
we've pretty much accepted that we're not going to, we're probably never going to make a living from our music, but that's fine. We never really set out to try and make a living. We just wanted to make some awesome music, and we want to play some really good shows, and we'd like to play with some amazing bands and play some bigger venues. But if we never make a living off our music, that's fine. But don't get me wrong. If somebody offered us, the salaries that we earn from our jobs to make music, of course we'd do it. Definitely, it's just the chances of that actually happening these days is quite slim.
Yeah, I mean the goal these days is to success is today totally different from what it was 30 years ago. I would consider someone successful today if they could just get by from their music. In 30 years ago, success you probably would think would have been a mansion, 5 cars, a private jet. Well, that doesn't.
Yeah.
that doesn't really exist anymore. But for success, I would really respect and look up to someone who would just be able to pay their bills, just get by, just from doing their music and nothing else today. I think that's rare today.
It is very rare, yeah.
Unless you've already started a bit further back and you had a bit of a head start. It'd take a lot of... I don't think people... That's what I don't think people would realise, how much work that would take to get to a point today where you can just pay your bills. Just get by doing music. Your own music, original music.
I think that's why some people do play in tribute bands, because they want to bring in some extra money to help out with their original band.
Yeah. Well, people... That's going back to the tribute thing. Some bands do tribute gigs as the band on the side to sort of keep the original stuff ticking over, which I can't knock them for, really.
I mean, we played with a couple of tribute bands not so long ago. We played at Rebellion with Chop Suey, System of a Down tribute, and Killswitch UK, Killswitch Engage tribute band.
Yeah.
And I think a couple of the members in those bands were from like Breed 77, I think.
Ah, right. Yeah. I do remember. I looked at that. I was looking at that before on your page. I remember I saw that. I was like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you see a lot of... You're surprised by sometimes how some people like really quite famous are still having to do stuff on the side to supplement carrying on with their own career. Yeah. I think that's what people would be surprised by. But that's the world we live in these days. Like you said, the internet's kind of brought a good and a bad sort of... It's a paradigm, isn't it? Of the way where we have to operate these days. But
I think I remember the drummer from Evil actually saying that he works in a shop when he's not on tour.
Right, yeah, that's.
And it's like, if a band as well known as them still have to have part-time jobs, it's like it doesn't hold much hope for bands of our size.
Yeah, I mean, unless you got to the point where you were selling out medium-sized venues all the time everywhere you played, I don't think there's much other way you're going to be able to avoid having to get a job. I don't think.
No, I agree with you there.
But it's kind of it's quite important to try and get a side job that you actually enjoy or you don't hate. To make it not so soul destroying to have to do a job that you hate just to carry on doing your hobby, like we said. Have to still call it hobby, I guess, don't you?
Yeah. Well,
which is weird.
I think success these days is being a touring band and then have a part-time job that you can tolerate. That's that's success.
It's weird to call it a hobby, considering we're doing exactly, or if not more, than what the big bands that we know today did when they started. We're probably working just as much, if not harder, in certain other ways than they did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we have to call it a hobby because it's just so hard these days. It's weird.
It takes up so much time and so much effort, and I think unless you really love doing it, it's very, very difficult because you've got to fit everything else in. You've got to work full time, and then you've got other things going on in your life, and then the band takes up so much time and money on top of that. It's difficult.
Well, I mean, a lot of those bands back in the day didn't have to necessarily have jobs. They kind of, I mean, some of them did. I remember, I think James Hetfield worked in a sticker factory when they first started, and he would use bits and pieces of money to pay for rehearsal stuff or whatever. But generally, I've always heard stories, and people like I was saying, going back to reading people's autobiographies of them saving up all their cash and then just leaving and going to LA or somewhere and just start gigging. You would never get that today because you would just get nowhere.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't. No.
It just
You'd
doesn't
be
exist.
Living on the streets, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So that's kind of what's changed since then. But it just shows you the harsh reality of. We've made it sound really grim today, haven't we?
Well, yeah, everything's
been
bad.
quite depressing.
Worst ever. Don't ever do it.
But in spite of all that, we all still really enjoy it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it, because why would you? Because it's so hard. Why would you do it if you didn't enjoy it?
Well, that's it, yeah. I mean, it's a massive expense and it's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, the music and the shows and the friends and seeing other bands, it all makes it worth it.
It does. If it ever got to a point where you weren't enjoying it, then you would either need to quit doing it or change what you're doing to make it so you do enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, you ain't doing it for money, so make sure you have fun.
Yeah.
Oh well, man. Thanks for calling in. It's been cool chatting with you.
Yeah, cheers for having me, dude.
No worries. Like I keep saying to people, this podcast that's probably the longest I've ever spoken to you, and I've known you for a good few years now.